What is the value of the expression 5 squared minus 70 divided by 5 multiplied by 2? Which option do you think is the correct answer to this question? 99% of people get tricked and choose the wrong answer. Let's dive in and break it down step by step together. To solve this question, many people start by calculating 5 squared first, and instead of the original expression, they rewrite it as 25 minus 70 divided by 5 multiplied by 2. And the next step, they usually perform the subtraction between 25 and 70 and simplify this expression to negative 45 divided by 5 multiplied by 2. Then, they proceed by doing the division between negative 45 and 5, which gives them negative 9 multiplied by 2. And finally, they multiply negative 9 by 2, which ends up with the answer negative 18. Then, without any hesitation, they quickly say that option A is the correct answer to this question. However, this answer is absolutely wrong. Also, some other people when solving this question first go for the expression 5 squared and they simplify to 25 minus 70 divided by 5 multiplied by 2. And the next step, they usually go for the multiplication between 5 and 2 because they think multiplication has priority over division. So, they rewrite this expression as 25 minus 70 divided by 10. Next, they perform the division between 70 and 10 since they believe division has priority over subtraction. And they rewrite this expression as 25 minus 7, which ultimately gives them the answer 18. And immediately, they conclude that option D is the correct answer to this question. However, it's not the correct answer to this question. Alright, now let me show you how to solve this expression properly. To solve this question, we must follow the PEMDAS rule. We should perform these operations exactly in order from top to bottom step by step. Okay, as you can see in the image, in this expression, first we have an exponent, then a subtraction sign, followed by a division, and finally a multiplication. We should start with the exponent because in this expression, exponent has a higher priority than the other operations. So, this expression simplified to 25 minus 70 divided by 5 multiplied by 2. And the next step, we need to handle the division and multiplication, since multiplication and division have higher priority than subtraction. However, it's very important to note that multiplication and division are at the same level of precedence. In this situation, the best thing to do is to start from the left side of the expression and move toward the right, performing division and multiplication in order. So, first we perform the division between 70 and 5, and this expression simplified to 25 minus 14 multiplied by 2. And the final step, we do the multiplication between 14 and 2, which gives us 25 minus 28. And finally, the value of this expression is equal to negative 3. That's great. Option B is the correct answer to this question. Alright, now let's solve another tricky math question together. What is the value of the expression 75 divided by 5 multiplied by open parenthesis 6 plus 9 close parenthesis? Which option do you think is the correct answer to this question? Let's take a closer look and solve it together. And the first step, most people start by solving the expression inside the parentheses and replace it with 75 divided by 5 multiplied by 15. And the next step, they go for the multiplication between 5 and 15 because they think multiplication has priority over division. So, this expression simplified to 75 divided by 75, which finally gives them the answer 1. And immediately, they quickly say that option A is the correct answer to this question. But I have to say, we're tricked and it's not the correct answer to this question. As you can see on the screen, in this expression, first we have a division sign, followed by a multiplication sign, and finally parentheses. To solve this question, we need to use the PEMDAS rule. PEMDAS shows us the priority of the order of operations. So, we start with the parentheses first, because it has the highest priority than the other operations. Okay, this expression simplified to 75 divided by 5 multiplied by 15. Now, it's time to simplify this expression. It's very important to note that in the PEMDAS rule, multiplication and division have exactly the same level of priority. In this case, all we need to do is to start from the rest of the expression and move step by step toward the right. So, first we perform the division between 75 and 5, which simplified this expression to 15 multiplied by 15. And finally, the value of this expression will be 225. Therefore, option D is the correct answer to this question. If we have the expression 7 to the power of 2 divided by 7 over 11 multiplied by 77, then what is the simplest possible answer for this expression? Which option do you think is the correct answer to this question? Let's go step by step and solve it together. And the first step to solve this question, most people go straight to the exponent, which is 7 squared, and write this expression as 49 divided by 7 over 11 multiplied by 77. And the next step, they focus on the multiplication between 7 over 11 and 77 because they believe multiplication has a higher priority than division. As you can see in the image, they simply cancel out 77 with the 11 in the denominator, and this expression simplified to 49 divided by 49, which finally gives them the answer 1. And immediately, they conclude that the correct answer to this question is option A. However, that's definitely wrong. Alright, now let me explain step by step how to solve this expression correctly. As you can see on the screen, in this expression, first we have an exponent, then a division sign, and finally a multiplication. To solve this question, we must follow the PEMDAS rule. It means that we have to perform all the operations in this expression exactly according to the PEMDAS rule in order from top to bottom. Okay, first we must start with the exponent, because in this expression, exponent has a higher priority than the other operations. So, instead of this expression, we can write 49 divided by 7 over 11 multiplied by 77. In the next step, we move on to the division and multiplication. However, it's really important to understand that multiplication and division have exactly the same level of priority in the PEMDAS rule. In this situation, the best approach is to start from the left and move toward the right, performing these two operations in order. So, we start with the expression 49 divided by 7 over 11. Okay, whenever we see a division sign between two terms, the best thing to do is to apply the KCF rule. In this rule, K stands for keep the first number as it is, C stands for change the division sign to multiplication, and F stands for flip the second fraction. So, we remove the highlighted part and write this expression as 49 multiplied by 11 over 7. Now, we can easily simplify the number 49 with the 7 in the denominator, and instead of this expression, we can write 77 multiplied by 77, which finally gives us the answer 5,929. That's great. Option D is the correct answer to this question.